So if the market has felt a little strange recently, patients are making decisions in different ways, patients are reaching you in different ways based on historic data, it may feel like a bit of a puzzle. In today's episode, I want to share why it's happening based on real things we're seeing in the market right now that are impacting real stats and real data. And most importantly, what you need to do in order to be on the right side of some of these monumental changes. Welcome to the Business of Hearing podcast, the #1 marketing and practice growth podcast for high-performing private practice hearing care leaders. My name's Ollie Luke. Pull up a chair, pour yourself a drink, and let's have a chat. So welcome along to another episode of the Business of Hearing podcast. And we're in a bit of a funky spot right now. And I want to riff on this because I suppose to set this up a little more is I'm hearing more and more like the market's a little funky, things are a little different, things feel a little weird, we're having returns, we've got more cancellations, just the general riffs and conversations that occur. And of course, we can all zoom out on this. There's the weird economical times, the economy is in funky conditions, Bitcoin soared, whatever you can point it to and say it's that. But I think as an industry, if I really zoom in where we're at, we're almost in the center of this very weird Venn diagram. And I think it's between a generational shift, a technology shift, and then an online shift. And I want to talk about three of these because I think we bang in the center of all three of them. And the way we navigate out of this is actually relatively straightforward. So let's talk about this. So firstly, let's start with generation. We are right now between two of the biggest generational shifts that we've ever seen. We've had the silent generation that have been the patients that we've served for the past 2 decades, people born between 23 and 45 who have been our patients, and they're a unique group. And you've just got to consider what they grew up in. They grew up during a time of the Great Depression, World War II, where they had to fight. They had to go watch their fathers fight. The economy was absolutely shot. They were in a very, very compromised position. And given that we create our view of the world as a child before the age of 7, you can understand why they're highly frugal, why they've got big respect for authority, why sitting with somebody with a white coat will make them make very different decisions to sitting with somebody without a white coat, why government, institution, big business is so well respected. They're a very unique group given how they've been molded by their upbringing and view of the world. And these have been the patients that we've served for the past 2 decades. They're the biggest users of coupons. They want to buy it, own it for as long as possible. Prime example of that is old Warren Buffett, right? He's a 95-year-old dude worth $155 billion, and he drives a 11-year-old car and lives in a house that isn't particularly that impressive, which is fine. But it just tells you a lot about that generation. And then following that generation, which is the generation we're shifting into right now, is the boomers. Now, we've heard the boomers are coming for a long period of time, but they're here. They're absolutely here, and the data's proving they're here, especially in the US market, because there was 19 million Americans born between 1923 and 1945. The boomer generation, people born between 1946 and 1964, there was 72 million. There was a lot of babies made. That post-war, my God, people were busy. And there was a lot of babies produced as part of that generation. Now, the US dollar became the world currency reserve in 1944. Economy boomed. Many Western economies boomed. And there was huge levels of prosperity for that boomer generation. And we see it now, right? It's even from the young people who I see on the internet moaning about how good boomers had it. But that generation just went through a beautiful, beautiful phase. And they're now the wealthiest generation on the planet. I think I read a stat that I think it's 75% of all property wealth is held by boomers. Many of them are retiring later than ever. One of their biggest areas of active spending is health and wellness. Like, it's almost the dream generation of who you'd want as patients. People who are willing to spend on experience, on health and wellness, who have the money to spend, who are living longer, want to age slower, want to work later, who have active lifestyles. Like, if you had to draw your dream patient, it's not too dissimilar to what this generation is. And then I think the biggest monumental thing that I give focus to when I look at this generation is the fact they use the internet as often as you and I. They use email daily. They interact with social media. I think it's 60, 70% of them have Facebook. It's like a high number. It's it's a generation that wants to do their due diligence and research, not just work with somebody they've seen in the local newspaper, but somebody that aligns to them and looks like they can help them solve the unique challenges and puzzles that they feel like they're facing. So like that's the biggest shift that we're seeing. The practices that are still focusing on that silent generation patient of looking at how do we put things in newspaper and direct mail and just having a website is enough and hope for referrals. Like the target is shifting because that patient is aging and these new patients are coming through that have very different preferences, very different ways that they're looking to make a buy decision, that the old school stuff just isn't resonating anymore. It's the new school practices that show up as the thought leader, know who they're for, can prove that they're the right option for them and develop the evidence and actually look like the place they want to work with that are winning those patients. So that's the first area of this Venn diagram. The second is the technology shift. And this fundamentally is about Apple. And I think this is going to get more and more tricky with the world of AI that we're in. But Apple introduced these hearing health features in their AirPod Pro 2s back in October 2024. And I've heard so many good things about them. And it's weird, like speak to the audiology community, they'll find everything that's wrong with them. Speak to the average person on the street, and they're telling you how great these things are. Now, both are right. Like you're not right and they're wrong, and you're both right in your views, looking at it through very, very different lenses. But when you've got the most influential, largest, and dare I say, coolest tech brand in the world launching hearing health features into their AirPods that are available for $300, like that causes funkiness on a market for sure. Because anybody that's in the market considering, where should I go to solve a hearing challenge? I'm going to try that $300 option that I've probably already got in my pocket that I just need to enable through my phone before going spending several $1,000s to go and sit with somebody who's going to tell me I'm broken, tell me I'm sick, tell me I need a solution. Like it's understandable why that's causing funkiness on the market. And we're seeing it, right? Even in Q1, the stats of premium technology was still pretty steady. That basic entry-level technology was the thing that was tailing off so heavily based on My Vital Pro's data of over 1,000 practices in the US. So it makes a lot of sense. The question is, are we going to see a bounce back like we did with OTC when people realize they need more of a full-time solution and these AirPods are the gateway drug that bounce people to people like you? Or are these going to be a solution that people are happy with? The AirPod Pro 3s are the things on the horizon that is going to be hardware built to complement the software. So that's going to be that's going to be the interesting one. They were rumored to be around later this year. It may be a 2026 thing now, given the challenges Apple have with tariffs, production, etc. But this is the Goliath that is Apple, who spend over $30 billion a year just on research and development. That is the GDP of Senegal that they're spending on research and development. So this is a completely different battle. And and then where's AI going to take technology and innovation? Is that going to lower the cost over time? Is it going to become more consumerized than it is medicalized right now? Like these are just some of the conundrums that I think play very funky into this technology stage. Like when's the point going to come when a manufacturer can't charge you $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for a pair of microchips in a plastic casing? And when's the cost of technology production going to be reduced so significantly that changes? I really don't know, but I just can't accept that that's going to be the model that will be the model for decades to come. And then the third thing, we've got this internet shift. The biggest shift of how people use the internet that we've seen in decades. And I'm so passionate about this because it infuriates me how many people are burying their head in the sand, especially people who sell SEO services, sell Google Ads services, basically sell services built on Google, because they don't want to tell anyone about it because people not knowing about it or paying attention to it is beneficial to their business model and protection of revenue. But we're going through a big monumental shift where people use the internet in dramatically different ways now than they did even 6 to 12 months ago. Now, this initially triggered with ChatGPT introducing ChatGPT search in October 2024, which meant all of a sudden now you could do your due diligence and research online in a way that was so much better for the user. Rather than looking for website links to search through, you're looking for answers and you're looking and relying on them. They have a knowledge base of you. And if you say, I'm looking for restaurants in this area, they know your preferences. They'll give you the right answers based on what you're looking for. They'll build a knowledge base up on you There's no advertising getting involved or impacting. It's a very, very slick user experience for research or buying decisions. And now we've seen Google respond, and Google have launched AI mode that they've rolled out through the US, and it's similarly structured to ChatGPT. Like when you search on it, you're not looking for a bunch of website listings to go and click through. You're looking for answers, and it's going to provide you answers. And then finally, when you're ready to make any form of buying decision or go, I now need a hearing test near me, it'll then make the recommendation, not a set of go and check out these 15 websites and choose your favorite. So this is changing traditional SEO so significantly, mainly because what it's providing to people is going to be different. Two people looking for the same thing will get different outcomes because it knows they have different preferences. It also has the ability to look at their calendar, their inbox, anything that's a Google related product, and create almost a profile in order to give a recommendation to. So no two recommendations are the same. So like that changes the whole dynamic of what traditional Google was. If the goal was SEO, ensure that if somebody searches hearing test near me, we need to be number one. Well, that's slowly and quickly in many ways becoming more and more irrelevant depending on the target market and demographic of the people that you want to reach on the internet. But this is a one-way train. Google are not going to start reversing this and drop AI mode. AI mode is here to stay, and dare I say, if I jump 2 to 3 years in the future, I think it'll be the only way people use Google. Traditional listings will be, unfortunately, a thing of the past. So we're at a crossroads right now of you either need to get built for this AI world and AI search and know the game's very, very different, or you continue to play the game that you've played up to now, but know it's being phased out. Like it's a crossroads where really there's only one right way to go if you want that road to continue. So like these are like the three areas now that are causing a lot of funkiness in the market, causing practices that used to get a lot of good lead flow, not getting the lead flow, practices that spotlighted certain areas in the market, like the lower level of the market, struggling like they once did, or practices that are still doing the things that work towards the silent generation that are no longer working, and they're questioning, is direct mail the issue? Is lunch and learns the issue? Is newspaper the issue? It's not. It's just that the target has moved. So what is the solution to all of this? And it's actually relatively straightforward. You just got to play the game for today's world. And I'll break it down really, really simply. Like the strategy is, if you want to win online and get patient flow, is get really clear specificity on who you want to serve. It can't be everyone. You can't drop a pin in a map and say, we serve everyone in this area with a hearing health challenge. Like that was an okay recipe for the silent generation and when the world was very different. Right now, especially with AI search, they're going to make recommendations based on the preferences of patients to show someone who's right for them. You need to have specificity on we help these people. If you get that really, really clear on the people that you help, you can then build the evidence, you can tell the story that naturally shows that you're the logical option for them. And then you can build the evidence to show we've helped people like them to achieve the outcomes they're looking for a prolonged period of time. Like get those foundations correctly. That's going to mean that you're not fighting with a technology thing, depending on the audience you've chosen. If you've chosen your audience correctly, I'm going to assume it's not a 96-year-old patient. It's probably someone that falls into that boomer audience, which means that you can target them in a much more specified manner. And then the third one with this AI search, what that's looking for is specificity. Like you can no longer say, we do hearing aids, come to us. Like we help these people to achieve these outcomes. Like you get clearer on that. And when that goes looking to say, I've got a 62-year-old here who's looking for help with hearing, and these are the things they care about, they can clearly read who you are and make a solid recommendation to you. So this is the game of marketing. It's no longer go big, go loud. It's go specific. And dare I say, it's not grow the boat, it's grow the moat. How do you put further defense between who you are and everyone else? So, a bit of doomsday there, but this is the reality of where we are in the market right now, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's a funky old place, but if you're doing the right things, the opportunity is rife. Because one thing that we see in our industry more than most is people are so set in their ways, and we see this, right? The old guard especially, they're so set that their way's right that they're going to run themselves out of business or possibly hit retirement before business. But navigating and getting ahead of this means that not many people are. And if you're part of that group that's getting ahead of this, then you're going to be set to dominate while everyone else is still scratching their head wondering what's going on and what this AI thing is that nobody else has seemed to hear about other than in Fox News. Like you're in a good position if you get ahead of it. You're in a bad position because that gap's getting wider and wider. So if you are in a situation now where you've got a successful practice, but you're conscious that your marketing is a little, let's call it set for 2022 rather than 2026, 2027, then I'd encourage you to get ahead of this soon. You've got a lot to protect. You've got a lot of story to tell. And this is a game that not taking action is putting you a lot further behind than when you need to be if you did this correctly. But I hope that's helpful. If you've got any questions, as always, reach out to me. You'll find my WhatsApp number below this video and find my email address, website link. However, it's the modern world. If you search my name, you'll find a way to contact me. But I'm always looking for great practices that have great stories, that do great work, that are looking to win the long-term battle. And if that's you, let's talk. But appreciate your ears, and I will speak to you again very, very soon. And there we have it. Another episode has come to an end, and I have a quick favour to ask. If you have found this helpful, then who do you know who should listen to this podcast? I strongly believe a rising tide lifts all boats, and right now, private practice needs to stick together to fight these big, gormless groups and these manufacturer-owned Goliaths that are looking to take market share from us. Consider who should be listening, pass on the word about the Business of Hearing podcast, and I'll see you again next week.